Hey, welcome to the PetaPixel Podcast. For expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photo, video, and lighting gear, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner. And for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo credit card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax and B&H pays you back instantly. Save the tax on eligible purchases shipped to eligible states. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/payboo. Credit card offers are subject to credit approval. Payboo credit card accounts are issued by Comenity Capital Bank. Holy crap, it's a PetaPixel podcast with my friends Chris Niccolls and Jaron Schneider. Hey guys.
Hi. Except we're all in our own hotel rooms, aren't we? We're not in the same room.
It's a really weird backdrop if you're used to seeing us in our studios, but the hilarious thing is we're all just like a few floors apart in the same hotel. We could all hang out as friends, but I don't know, maybe we had like a bitter argument and we all went to our separate rooms.
Yeah,
put some
exactly.
space between us.
So we're all naked from the belt down. That's why.
I was going to say, I changed my pants since you last saw me. For all you know, I'm not wearing any.
We got wet today, too, speaking of three hot dudes together.
Yeah, so to put that into perspective,
please.
We're all in New York. I won't say why we're in New York. We'll save that for another time in the future. But all will be revealed in good time. But we are all here in New York together, and it snowed on us today while we were out in the morning, and it was a wet snow.
Boy, did it ever. Yeah. But, it was beautiful. It was, from a photographic and video standpoint, it was gorgeous, right?
Yeah, if it wasn't snowing, it would have been
love what
bad.
we got today.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing for the podcast, too, because we always do mornings or evenings. I think this might be the first afternoon pod. So this is a fun change of pace.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got a little cold this morning, so I'm going to have a warm-up. That wonderful sound you heard was me opening up my pre-mixed old-fashioned from Knob Creek.
Oh, that's what you got. Oh, I was wondering.
Ooh. So this is going to get me through the podcast today. But the other thing that's going to get me through the podcast is learning about my friends. So I've got a question for you two.
What I'm drinking? No.
Well, we can get there. No, hit me. What do you got there?
I'm drinking the High Noon.
What is that?
Because it's an afternoon podcast. It's just a vodka seltzer. It's only 100 calories per serving, but in this giant king can, there's probably 8 servings. I don't know. What's a serving of alcohol now? 0. Don't drink it.
Jaron, you got something crazy over there?
Thank God it's gluten-free, though.
I have the Prince Katana Hotel New York water, so that's what I'm enjoying right now.
I believe, according to the label,
nice.
this is natural spring water. Is that right?
Yeah, 16.9 fluid ounces, 500 milliliters of natural spring water.
So, guys, this is going to be a super fun podcast because we've just published a few videos, and I would say about half of the comments are regarding price on the new Fujifilm Instax Cinema and the GR IV Monochrome. And that got me thinking, we're all terrified of these rapidly rising prices. And cameras are so expensive, we cry from the rooftops as we review them. So we're going to do an experiment. I am going to go back. I'm going to look at some classic models. We're going to take a look at how much they would cost today with inflation and figure out, is photography getting more expensive? And you guys are going to try and choose if the price of the camera has gone up or down. It'll be a fun game, but it got me thinking about prices. And gentlemen, I want to know, what was the last thing you picked up where you were like, or you were just looking at it in a store and you're like, when did this become so expensive? What is happening right now? I would expect this to be way cheaper. What's the last time you got sticker shock, boys?
Sticker shock, eh? Fly rods. That would be what I would make the connection to. Fly rods have gotten a lot more expensive. Where a premium fly rod used to be, I remember them being like $800. Then they broke the $1,000 mark.
For a stick?
Dude, yeah, absolutely.
A stick with a loop?
And I like to use R.L. Winston fly rods, which are nice. They're premium rods, but I would say now a premium fly rod like those is going to cost $1,700. In some cases more if it's like a big 2-hand spay rod.
That is
like a hot rod.
Stick. Very expensive stick.
and even if they're produced in the States, a lot of these things are still bringing carbon fiber and stuff in from China or Korea, all these other Asian countries. And so, tariffs have been hurting that too. So they're expensive, crazy expensive.
What's the last one that threw you, Jaron?
A bag of beef jerky, actually. It's mostly I don't go and buy a lot of stuff, just groceries. And there's like a bag of beef jerky at the grocery store I go to was, I think it was like $17 or $18. And
That's
it was
crazy.
nicer. It was nicer beef jerky, but like still, and it wasn't like a big bag. It was like a small. You're supposed to eat that in one sitting sized bag, and I was just like, that is
$18?
It was
a road trip size bag of jerky.
Not even, because I used to go to Target and get like Old Trapper, and those are like some larger bags.
Yeah.
If this bag translated to the size of like an Old Trapper jerky bag, it probably would have been 6 times more expensive, because that's how small this bag was. So
We got to go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah,
We got to go back to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's, you can go lick a cow for free. I've done it.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm unsettled. So I was going to say coffee. Coffee's gone crazy. But then right before we started, I was like, I recently was like looking for a game I could pick up and throw down on Switch. And I remember just pangs of jealousy when my former roommate, Kyle Marquardt, almost 20 years ago, was playing Mario Galaxy. And I'm like, that looks like fun, but that's his Wii. So it came out for Switch. It was Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for $100 Canadian?
Yeah.
For 2 games that came out 20 years ago? What is happening?
That's what gets me is like on the consoles, they just re-release old content, update it slightly, and call it like a brand new game. You have to pay full price for it. It's stupid.
Nintendo does that a lot, and they don't.
It's awful.
Sale. Yeah, it's bad.
No, it's awful. Yeah. I mean, I do like working on the PC with Steam, because at least there, like, old games are priced appropriately as they should be. Like,
Right. That's what I was expecting.
You can get The Witcher 3 for like $5 when it's on a sale. Like stuff like that's crazy. Yeah,
Nintendo
like,
is an
stupid.
excellently run company, but they will price gouge you because they know they can, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It worked. I never played those games. There's no other way I'm going to play it. So I sucked it up, and I do have to say, really good game. But
you paid $100 for the Galaxies? Damn,
I know,
dude.
man. I'm a lunatic. But you got to treat yourself
I
sometimes.
think Mario Kart by itself, the new one, was $80.
Yeah, it was over $100 Canadian. I know that. So yeah.
There you go. Nintendo
Madness.
pushing it. Yeah.
Madness.
It's
and
ridiculous.
speaking of
Yeah.
madness, we should start the podcast and get to some news
because
stories.
maybe the camera industry is the exact same. Well, let's find out.
This week's podcast is brought to you by you. And by you,
Me?
I mean those
Not
who
you,
are...
not you, Jordan.
Yeah,
Wait,
not
who?
you, Jordan. You're not a
Chris?
PetaPixel member. No,
No,
not either.
Me? No.
It's brought to you by our
the members,
PetaPixel
we love them.
You know,
There's a
they own-
lovely Asian man named you, and he's the one that sponsors our entire show.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, you.
Well,
Big thanks
those
to you.
who are PetaPixel members, I had
Cheers,
this
you.
like ready to go, and then you derailed me, and now like my brain's like I don't remember what part of the sentence.
That's what you pay us for.
For those who are PetaPixel members who pay just a measly $3 a month or $30 a year, they get to browse PetaPixel ad free. They get 25% off the PetaPixel merch store. They get discounts at KEH. They get they get $15 to spend at the Moment store, and we're planning even more bonuses for those who are PetaPixel members. Those are coming in the next couple of months, so stay tuned for those. But you know what's special about it is it also helps us directly. Yes, we do have sponsors for things, but we'd prefer that the sponsors be our readers. And if you want to help us get to the point where we no longer have to take money to make anything happen, you should become a member, a PetaPixel member.
There you go.
Appreciate that. So, $3 a month, $30 a year. You can sign up at the link in the description below. We just really appreciate it. It's really nice to have people actually directly support what we do, and it makes things much easier for us financially. So
And we even buy our own booze, so don't worry about that.
That's
We
right.
did. This wasn't coming from member dollars, but I'm still going to use it to cheers you existing members. Thank you so much.
I did not hand over the PetaPixel credit card for their alcohol. No.
No, you did not.
So anyway, once again, $3 a month, $30 a year. We'd really appreciate it if you became a member. And with that, we have a few news stories to go over this week. The first of which is Evoto messed up big. So for those who don't know who Evoto is, they are one of the more up-and-coming photo editing apps that kind of competes directly with Lightroom. They didn't want to do a plugin for Lightroom, as far as I remember. They wanted it to be a separate experience, and they kind of wanted people to switch to them. And they offer a lot of AI-powered tools, but they're useful tools, like not stuff that would replace a photographer, for example, not generative AI, but, removal tools and cleanup tools and that sort of thing, and organizational tools. Yeah. I say that, except they decided to do something really dumb.
Egregious. Use the word egregious.
Egregiously stupid.
Wow.
During Imaging USA, which was in Nashville last week, Evoto launched a headshot generator, which was basically 100% advertised as a way to replace the photographer, and that was dumb. They
at an expo of professional photographers.
Yeah, launching it in So here's the story they went with initially was this was a beta feature that launched early. That was obviously debunked pretty quickly, given that there were dedicated websites and testimonials all prepared and launched there. They sort of changed their tune a couple of times, and the final apology, there were 3 total apologies that we've seen. There's one on Facebook, there's one on their website, and then there was another one that they emailed us after we published our story. They say they're sorry, they listened to the feedback, and they're going to remove the AI headshot generator from their future plans and from all official platforms. But I got to ask you guys, do you think that even matters? Is that to say essentially sorry, we won't do it again? But they did it.
Yeah,
that's better than barreling through and not changing it. Okay, and saying this is the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And good luck. I mean, headshots are like a portrait photographer's bread and butter. That's that's one of your core products that you would sell.
I just find it hilarious how close this is to Adobe's huge misstep of advertising, skip the photo shoot. We're Adobe. Just use our software instead. And it seems they're we're competing directly with Adobe. Yeah, in terms of making the exact same mistake 1 year later. Yeah. But I mean, there's going to be so much research and development going into this that for them to just throw that all away, maybe they'll rebrand it and sell it off to another company. But the other big question is, this is software where you're, giving them access to your files. How are they training this generator? And they're no, it's not using your photos.
They said that pretty strongly. But here's the thing. For all these companies that do claim this, it is exceptionally difficult to find out if they're telling the truth or not. Yeah. So, do you continue to trust them? I think was a continuous discussion. So they went ahead and did this. They said they didn't use your pictures to train the AI to straight up replace you. But, we can only take their word for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that pretty much any AI lab is, any AI endeavor is gleaning data. Mm-hmm.
There's no way to prove what you said, and there's no way to disprove what you said.
No.
Without having direct access to their source code. And it brings up a lot of questions, how much do we care? At what point do we just give up? I don't think a lot of people are willing to give up yet, and I applaud that. But it's this was quite honestly one of the dumbest things a company could have done, based on timing and the product that they sell. They're selling this to professional photographers, and they put this in there. It is baffling.
It is strange.
Baffling.
Yeah. You'd think you'd set up a separate app that everyday people could download and just use it. I need a headshot for my resume, and then why would you put it in a photo editing program?
Yeah, and then rebrand it. But even then, people might be like, "Hey, aren't you guys also the ones who own that photo editing software? Is there a chance maybe you're training your software with our photos?" And
but at least you could lie about it, or
we'd get our trio of apologies again.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well,
it's just I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, you guys being the listeners. If you guys paid attention to this, if you saw what happens, if you had an opinion, please let us know in the comments below. But we're going to say the next thing we're going to talk about is, this is an idea that we 100% have seen in some capacity before. But at CES, Ted, one of our writers, went and did an interview with a company called Await that is making a digital camera. It's an 8-megapixel little point-and-shoot digital camera that allows you to take 24 photos per, and I'm using air quotes for those who are only listening, a film roll. And then you have to wait for those files to get to develop, and then you can then, if you say nothing, they ship you all 24 pictures, but you can go in and decide you don't want some and whatever, but that doesn't change the price. You're essentially in a subscription model where you're using a junky little camera. So like back in the 90s, you would use the little, the point and shoots with the little wind, the disposables, and you'd get your pictures, and that was it. That's essentially what they're trying to recreate. This sounds super familiar. I feel like we talked about this before with another company that was doing like the same thing.
Yeah. Or at least we talked about a product where, you had to like send your photos away to be developed and then you would get it back. So you have to pay to get photos on this camera beyond the sort of $70 to $100 or whatever the camera costs?
Yes.
Yeah, for your prints.
Yeah, you get the idea is returning to physical media is.
But you get prints.
Yeah. 4x6 prints.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I know I'm supposed to be. I'm still awful. I think it's kind of fun.
It's a stupid idea.
Okay, so each of you should go and explain, Jordan, why is it fun?
I do like the idea of that gap in time. Like, there's no displays on this camera or anything like that. You are getting that, like, I shot it. I hope it turns out. I don't know. Now, like Jaron said, you can go and say, like, oh, that didn't turn out. I don't want them to send that print. But I think the appeal of it primarily is just shoot it, plug it in, forget it, and see when the prints arrive. And for that, I do think there would be some novelty to it, especially like, kids go to camp or something like that. You got to knock off a roll. That's your obligation. I think that's kind of fun. But yes, you are now tied into a subscription model, but it's not a huge investment for the camera. It's going to be under $100. So, if you get tired of it, cancel it. But I do think it does bring back, I talk about it all the time, how a time lapse is the only thing now where I get to like sit there and be like, man, I hope that turns out. And later you find out like, oh, it did, or oh, it didn't. And this gives photographers that same kind of experience, which is a little more rare. That being said, they could knock out a few rolls of actual film.
It looks like the film is going to cost, the roll, quote again, air quote, is going to cost $10. So you have to pay either, they haven't finalized pricing of the hardware. It's either somewhere between $70 and $100 for the hardware. And then each roll, quote unquote, of film that you get quote unquote, that you get developed, quote unquote, and sent to you as print will cost about $10.
You're working those fingers hard today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's a lot of words here that they're trying to like mimic as being other things. So I'm trying to like respect that. But
so if you use this camera in a moderate fashion and printed out shots, like this very basic e-waste camera, like minimal, like no controls, minimal use, small battery, could end up costing you hundreds of dollars over the span if you diligently use it, right? In which case you could have bought a much better used camera, or or even new digital camera for that same price.
But would you print? That's the question. Would you take the time to print those 4x6s?
I get it, but then it's like, you know what? First off, the novelty of getting that surprise, I get what you're saying. You kind of get the surprise. You wait for it. You're trying to teach your kids mindfulness or something like that. I get it. Because us 40-year-olds already know that. And it's like that novelty wears off pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we loved getting film developed and the cost that was associated and having to wait a few days or whatever, back in the day. It was just, that's all I
like about film. It's not the part I like is looking at the developed images. I don't love the handing over my credit card to get that.
Yeah. And with digital, I'd rather go through the shots, pick the ones I like, and print those out specifically. And if you do that, you're going to get way more mileage out of how many prints you can get. Maybe invest in a digital printer. There's so many products out there now that are very affordable. Little die sub printers. Plug in your memory card, print stuff out if you really want to have the print. And you know what? Then you're still being mindful because you have to do the work to do that. Right? But I just feel, I don't know. I mean, I think this is just a gimmicky thing, and in the end, people will get tired of it, and it will go in the trash. Subscriptions suck, dude.
I wonder. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure it's a subscription. I still think it's like when you want to develop a role, it's $10.
You just pay when you want to reset it. Yeah,
sure, but it's still set up an account and have your thing and put in your credit card. And I'm tired of that stuff, man. I can't even keep track.
Jordan's coming from is like it's fun, but I actually do agree with No Fun Niccolls here, and that it's especially irritating that you can't use the camera if you decide you don't want to do their print service.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You only get the pictures associated with the app they're building, so you can't even use this thing standalone, as far as I understand it. If that's the way it is, as far as I understand it, that feels like e-waste waiting to happen. More so than a camp snap.
Yeah, and making you wait 24 hours just for the sake of it is stupid.
You should be able to pay more for 1 hour developing. Just like
even my 1 hour photo.
Don't worry, that might be part of their business model, Jordan. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. I get it, but I don't like it.
Great. Everyone has made solid points. So we're going to move on.
Remember what you say about nostalgia, Jordan. Okay?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a sickness.
You're like a fish that I've pulled out of the water and then thrown on the deck of the dock. Like you're just, when it comes to nostalgia.
You're saying I'm flip-flopping?
Nostalgia's terrible, and you're flip-flopping. You're flip-flopping.
Not really sure that's what a fish does.
I'll work on a more consistent message for 2026.
Yes.
We're going to briefly touch on this. It's related to the main story we're getting to, is that the A7 IV has outsold the next 4 cameras combined at Map Camera. Now, Map Camera is in Japan, so we have to remember that the Japanese market's not the same as the rest of other markets. In fact, it's very different. The Japanese market tends to value different things than North America or Europe or whatever. But the A7 V is doing exceptionally well there. Let me see if I can see here what the next 5 cameras were. I'll look while you guys give me your... Oh, here we go. The Fujifilm apparently was doing well, but has struggled to produce enough cameras to meet demand, Map Camera says. The OM System OM3 was on there and listed as in 6th place, and the Nikon Z5 II followed in 7th. So it looks as though Fujifilm would have outsold the A7 V if they could make enough products. But Sony, which has very strong manufacturing, has no problem keeping the store shelves stocked, and the A7 V is flying off them. I have to imagine it's doing well in the U.S. too. I was under the impression that
I would assume so,
are really high. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's going to talk?
You inhaled. Talk. Yeah, you inhaled. So I thought you were going to say something, Chris.
I am going to talk. I was going to say, I've noticed just like talking with people, talking with friends or family members or people who are like looking for cameras and shopping and stuff. I do actually get quite a few requests, like and sort of give me some information on like the A7 V. Like, do you think that's a good camera? Do you think that's worth it? Like, I feel like people are recognizing, it's a great product. There's no doubt. It's very good. We liked it a lot. It's very versatile, all around camera. So I think, but I'm starting to see now people actually like asking for it and wondering about it. And so it's actually getting out there and people are noticing it and considering it.
Yeah. And when this came out, I said, and I thought we should address it on the podcast at some point, is this backlash to this camera about Sony now becoming one of the bad guys among the internet commentators, but actual real humans who need something to take pictures. Like I said it at the time, it's so unbelievably well-rounded for how the majority of people actually use their cameras. And I think the sales are going to keep reflecting that just consistently over time.
Yeah. And I love the latest Canon. It's a very comparable camera, but honestly, I'm sure that's selling well too. But actually, I'm not hearing a lot of people asking me about that. I've heard the Sony question now quite a few times.
Yeah, Sony, they have a really big install base too with E-mount, and E-mount has the most lenses available to it by far. So for a lot of folks, sticking with Sony and not jumping to Canon makes more sense to them because they can get more optics for it, and they feel like they have more choice because they do have more choice. Canon, I hope you're listening. We would really like to have other options on RF mount. All right, last story here is it's 2 more, but this one's the last major one. Our favorite company to say their name, Thypoch.
Thypoch? Yeah.
Thypoch. has a new lens for M mount based on 1970s cinema optics. It's called the Sana 21mm f3.5. And it is a relatively compact lens. It looks cute. Looks neat.
Yeah. I mean, Thypoch's an interesting company because they kind of try different approaches and they seem to skirt. Like we're seeing a lot of these manufacturers now. Some are really digging the whole vintage thing, like Light Lens Lab. They're faithfully recreating optics that you would never be able to get outside of a museum or thousands of dollars in eBay. And other companies like Omnar, for example, are actually trying to do this approach of vintage glass inspired, but modern build and modern features added, right? Kind of a hybrid, right? The character of yesteryear, but with lots of benefits and conveniences of today. And so Thypoch seems to be kind of riding that wave. Sometimes like the Samaras we've tried, really like them. I would argue they're a little bit more modern in the way they look. You know, they're contrasty, they're clean, they're sharp. Trying to mimic the 70s now with optical formulas, and even they're saying, Thypoch saying even old school coating styles. Yeah. So they're trying to get more of that. Yeah, flare, soft, kind of light, bit maybe a more gentle tone, trying to get that Leica glow maybe going on. So yeah, I
like the samples. I think they look good.
Just a touch of
on my Bessa.
Of something there. Yeah.
Be nice on the
and Thypoch are still a good price.
Yeah, they're not outrageously expensive, but the quality is really good, and they actually do. They don't charge very little. Like these are $550, but like that's totally reasonable compared to like what you would expect out of Leica. Who else? Like first party M mount is really the only thing I can
Voigtlander, yeah.
And Voigtlander, Voigtlander's I would say a little more expensive, but they do a pretty good job of keeping things from being too expensive. So
have you used an ultra wide on your Bessa yet? I'm curious. Have you experienced the joys of going from the frame on the hot shoe back down to your rangefinder? Because it's a treat, Jaron.
There's a 21mm Simera. I think I gave it to Chris, and we ended up sending it back to Thypoch because we didn't have time to look at it. I needed to get a 21mm like little finder. And I couldn't like acquire one, and I was like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. 21 is so wide. I don't know. We just kind of
guessed.
It. Yeah.
We did some samples, and we just kind of guessed.
I wasn't feeling it. So I'm not really into that, Jordan. I like it when my frame lines are correct.
Maybe that's why people love 35 mil. It's just historically that was like the easiest frame line to get.
Super
it's
easy and it's everywhere. Yeah.
So even 28 was like whole frame.
I can't put a real there's no frame lines on my my Bessa for 28, so I sort of had
for 28. That's why you like 35.
Maybe that's why I didn't like
I knew
it. It may have been because when I had 50 I could actually see what my frame lines were going to be, but the 28 I was just guessing.
What an oppressive focal length 35mm is.
All right, so this is going to lead directly into... Oh, my God, stop it. This is going to lead directly into our main story segment, but let's talk a little bit about the GR IV Monochrome's price, because that is, without a doubt, the largest conversation piece
Talk of the town.
Review. That's all anyone wants to talk about, and so there's a couple things that I wanted to clarify first. Firstly, when we recorded that review... we were not told the price yet, right, Chris?
Yes, that's right. We were still, it's not that, it wasn't anything malicious. Rico is just like, hey, we don't have final pricing yet. We'll get it for you as soon as we can. This is pretty typical out of companies. So I don't normally mention the price in a lot of our videos if we're still awaiting. So if we have solid pricing, great. But if not, I generally won't. And then maybe a couple days later, the rep will be like, hey, okay, we got final price. Here you go, guys. And then Jordan will usually just put that as text in the video. Right? Because that way we can still share it.
It may have seemed like you were okay with the pricing in the video because you didn't you weren't abhorred by it.
Look, when the GR4 came out around $1,500, that was expensive, right? But it had a lot of improvements. I mean, people were upset about the price on that, and I don't blame them. I get it. It's very expensive. Especially the previous models were quite a bit more affordable. And then, you were in this world.
Oh, we're going to get there. Get ready.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this, where we live in this world where we're like, where is the price coming? Are they inflated? Is it inflation? How much of it is tariffs, right?
How much is them being greedy? So that's the thing that came up with the GR4 Monochrome is people think that Rico is just, they're trying to suck as much money as they can out of GR users.
But to give context, we didn't have the price.
But in your written review,
how much? Yeah, how much more could it be than $1,500, right?
Like, what did you think
Turns
it was
out
going
it
to
can
be,
be
Chris?
I don't know, maybe because, you know, like you expect a monochrome sensor will be more expensive. It is a more niche product. You're going to sell less units. I get it. You got to cover like your production costs. I thought maybe $1,800, $1,900 tops.
Sub 2. That's, I think, where we were kind of thinking.
Yeah. And it was $2,200, $700 more.
So you touched on something that also is a point of discussion, is there is this belief that when you remove something, it should make it cheaper. What people don't understand is you're not just peeling this off of an existing sensor you have. You have to fab this specifically. And Ricoh is probably correctly believing that they're going to sell fewer of these. So they're ordering fewer of them. When you order fewer of something off of a run, that increases the per unit price. Yeah. So whether or not it was fully, like, it cost them that much more to do this, they also added the red filter, so that's slightly different. So this is an entirely separate production run that's smaller from start to finish. That's going to increase the price.
Still got to pay people to build these, but that was a big jump, and you know, and so I did talk about it in the article more so, because it gives you sticker shock for sure. Do I still think that they're going to sell all of them? Yes, absolutely, right. So it's one of those situations where they're like, well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be more expensive. We don't know where that price increase comes from. We can't really talk about that. That would just be conjecture. Who knows? They're not going to share those internals with us. But yeah, it was a big price jump. I still think it's going to do very well. I think, you know, they're obviously making far less than the standard GR4. People will buy them. It's a great camera to use. It's not like there's any downsides. I like the new red filter. I like the black and white image quality. But yeah, it's a shock.
I think for context, people need to acknowledge that if you want a compact, dedicated black and white camera, it was a Q3, which is not a compact camera. So there is a huge hole in the market for something like this, which, I mean, maybe they did get greedy, but they absolutely can because there's nothing competing with them. The good news is a lot of the other manufacturers, I'm looking at you, Fujifilm, could be like, oh, we make compact cameras, and if they can charge $2,200 for this thing, how much could we charge? And maybe we'll see some more monochrome options, the prices drop, or just more options. Yeah.
I know I said earlier that I don't think they're going to do it, and I still might be on that bandwagon because it would really cut into their film simulation modes, like throw 90% of them away. But at the same time, they do have a lot of great black and white simulation, films over the years, and they could absolutely simulate those. And I think that would be cool. Like, I'd look at a Fujifilm monochrome only camera that had all the neopans and the original Acros, and even going, see, Jaron
would buy 17 of these.
Nods aggressively, yes. I would be
totally,
like, boy, do I even need the X106 if they did an X106M?
SS, and you've got all of these different emulsions that were beautiful. So I would love to see Fujifilm do something like that. They certainly could do so, and they would make sense. And as Jordan said too, there's nothing like the GR4 as a camera, first off. I mean, that's they've always been so compact. To then do this black and white, Leica's your only alternative, and obviously they are substantially more money than even the incredibly expensive GR4 monochrome.
Yeah, the GR4 would be the most affordable Leica camera ever.
Yes. And I know everybody out there is like, or any color camera. I get it. We're not arguing the benefits of monochrome only cameras. That's not what we're about. Like, obviously there's a market. People are interested in them. I think they're cool. So that's besides the point.
I mean, I can quote Chris when he was using the camera, just kept saying, I want one. I want this.
Sure.
Over and over while he was reviewing it.
Yeah, because I'm the target audience that would happily shoot black and white 99% of the time and would relish the idea of having an APS-C size sensor compact pocket camera that punches above its weight as far as image quality goes because of the monochrome only sensor. Sounds great to me.
So since we're talking
I said in my article, though, sorry, one more thing. I did say in my article, though, I was like, at the very end, I found myself kind of thinking about it. I was like, would I buy this camera for myself? And in the end, my answer is no. Like, for me personally, a $700 increase, I would. That's enough for me to just be like, damn, I guess I'll just do a standard GR4 and put in black and white mode. And it's not going to bring me the joy, but I have a hard time justifying that cost. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that won't have a hard time justifying that cost. So they'll sell.
Okay. Yep. I gave you a second to make sure you wrapped up. this time.
Sorry. Thank you.
So
I'm done
with
now.
that, we're talking about pricing. I'm going to hand this over to Jordan because this podcast is brought to you by Jordan Drake. This is his idea. So Jordan, what are we doing
Thanks,
today?
Jordan.
I mean, we should let people know that we're actually recording this quite a bit ahead of schedule, which is why there may be some exciting news that we aren't discussing here. It was
Or
like,
not.
what are we going to talk about? And I think the big thing in the news is prices right now. There's so much about it. And in some cases, I think it's maybe a little unjustified, fellas, all this talk about how crazy expensive photography is getting.
Whoa.
So here's my idea is I'm going to look
Shots
at
across
some...
the bow.
Absolutely. I'm going to take a look at some models which have a very direct lineage. Like we're going to go back to an older version of a series that is still continued today. And we're going to take a look at those. We're going to take a look at what the initial cost at the time of introduction was. And we're going to figure out with inflation, what would that have cost today? Then we're going to look at a current model and we're going to see, has the price of this photographic series actually increased? Or is it just that you're remembering spending, substantially less money back in the past and you're saying photography's out of hand, but maybe photography's always been expensive and maybe some people on the internet are overreacting for the first time
That
ever.
does-
People on the internet are
now.
overreacting, I think, sometimes.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so you're obviously wrong about that.
So I have all the information here. I'm going to be the dungeon master for this game.
Okay.
Chris and Jaron are going to have to try and decide when I'll give you the starting model and the current one, and you tell me, do you think the price has actually risen, dropped, or stayed roughly the same? Okay?
Okay, now to give context here, we've discussed this idea, but you were like, I forbid you from looking at the pricing. So
No.
we haven't looked at current pricing. I'm terrible when it comes to this stuff anyways.
You have to go with your gut, with your heart. Is it more expensive
I
or
don't
not?
have one of those.
A heart? You just have
So-
an empty seal, a lump of coal.
Those are both essential for survival.
I'm a heartless android of a man. That's going to be tough. I'm bad at pricing in the first place, and so I don't know. And yeah, you didn't let us do any research.
Yeah.
A lot of these.
So this is
scales are
Chris Niccolls' way
decades
of
old.
saying he's very excited for this very fun game.
This is
that
my
he's going to have a
nightmare.
great
This is a
time
nightmare
playing.
game.
Oh,
Okay.
this is all right.
Hit us, Jordan. What are we starting with?
All right, we are kicking things off with one of my absolute favorite camera series. The Nikon D700 started the enthusiast smaller body full frame camera. We talked about it a little bit. I would say the direct replacement is the Z6 III these days. So, Jaron and Chris, do you think the price on this series of camera has gone up, down, or stayed the same? Chris?
This is a tricky one because D700 is going way back, and there was absolutely at the time. I remember brief. My mind's just a sieve and it's a mishmash. It's like a wet towel left on the bottom of a shower that you've stepped on.
I'd like your answer now.
Yeah. Who knows what water is still in it, what water's been squished.
No, the
into
metaphor
drain.
continues. No, we're not going to answer the question.
But let me explain. This is your game. If you want me to play it, I'm going to play it my way. There was a reverse
starting a
curve for
timer.
a while because I remember the first DSLRs and the early DSLRs were dramatically expensive because it was such a new technology, right? And as time went by, they got more affordable. So I think the D700 had a little bit of that earlier camera expense still going on. And I'd say the Z6 III is very well priced. So I'm going to go with roughly the same.
Okay, Jaron?
I think the D700 would have cost more in today's dollars.
So you think the price has gone down?
I think the
I definitely-
D6 III at its current price, after Nikon dropped the price to what it's sitting at now, and that is not like they dropped it not as like a special. They really just dropped it. So sitting at, I believe it's like $2,100 or $2,200. I think that's cheaper than a D700 would have cost.
I think you're right, and I'm wrong. But it's definitely not gone up.
Okay. So the original price was $3,000 for one, which would be $4,370 today.
That's two.
Yeah.
That's two Z6 IIs.
I know. Now, I am going to lean mostly on street price as opposed to sale price. The street price is $2,700 since the tariffs took
It's still
effect,
cheaper.
but it is on sale for $2,100. The price has definitely dropped, so Jaron gets a point.
Yeah. Well, we're competing? I don't want to do this.
You're such a loser, Chris.
This is like when someone says, let's play Monopoly. And I'm like, this is a horrible game. And I don't want to play it. It's
this
stupid.
Is an excellent point.
I put a lot of work into this. I thought it would be a lot of fun. So I need you to have a good attitude while we play this fun game.
And you know what? I gave the proper justification for why that price is.
Yeah, because your brain is a wet towel.
I should get a point for that. But whatever.
Is this wet towel also mildewy? Or is it a fresh towel?
Yeah, and it's mad. And it's going to sit for days. It's going to sit for days and start to really stink.
It's angry like a New York wind.
Yeah, this is a dumb game, but let's keep playing.
All right, so now let's talk about the series that started, I would say, the full-frame revolution outside of high-end professionals, and that was the original Canon 5D. Obviously, Canon is keeping the naming convention the same moving forward. The R5 II is the direct successor to this camera series. So, gentlemen, do you think the price of a 5D to R5 has gone up, stayed the same, or dropped?
Adjusting for inflation, I'm going to say the same.
Okay, Jaron?
Yeah, if that silence is me really thinking.
Don't do that.
I think, boy, my gut tells me that the price has actually gone up, but I'm going to go with the opposite and say it went down.
Interesting. Now, we are right on the bubble here because the R5 or the 5D first launched at $3,300 back in 2005, which would be $4,808 today. Okay. The R5 II stirred up a sea of controversy, launching at $4,400, but is currently on sale for $3,900, a steep discount since that initial reaction. So
you said you're going with street price, not sale price.
I am going to go with street pricing. I was thinking within a 20%. So you know what? I am going to give this to Chris. Chris gets a point for the price roughly staying the same in this series.
That's interesting.
All right.
That is,
what a great game you've come up with, Jordan.
Chris only likes games that he wins.
Yeah, as soon as he gets a point, we're having a blast here.
Just trying to be entertaining.
Interesting. So it's roughly the same. That is fascinating. I would have thought it would have been a little more expensive, but
it was a pricey camera.
My brain is thinking what you could actually buy the R5 II for today. I did not think that it was over $4,000 today to buy an R5 II, and it's not. But the street price is, so I'll concede.
You'll allow it? Okay.
I'll concede.
All right. Here's the biggest thing on the internet, the absolute S-storm of the GRs, okay? Do you think the price of a GR going from the original GR, an APS-C fixed lens camera, to the new GR IV, we can do the monochrome as a sidebar, but just looking at the 4, do you think the price has gone up, stayed the same, or dropped?
See, this is a tough one because now, are we talking the original GR digital? I think that would be that's the fair. Yeah. That's still an old camera.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that camera was like $600.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a little bit more. It was always an expensive camera, so I'm going to say it's the same.
Interesting. I'm loving this. I'm having a blast over here. Jaron?
I think the GR4 is more expensive.
You know what?
The GR originally launched real cheap, and even adjusted for inflation, it's going to come in less.
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll see. I was going to change to Jaron's because I agree, but you tell me.
All right, so it was launched for $800 in April 2013, which would be equivalent to $1,077 today, where the GR4 is going for $1,500. Okay. That is a substantial price increase.
Yes.
With the monochrome version going for $2,200, almost exactly twice the price of what the original would be, factoring in inflation. The price has jumped
it is an expensive
dramatically.
Yeah.
So that is a point for Jaron.
If you thought the GR4, if you thought the GR4 was expensive, you were right. It is.
Yep. That's the takeaway.
Even with the original GR being more expensive than you thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say it was $899?
8 something.
800 on the nose.
800. I thought
they
it
were
was
pricey cameras.
Yeah. 800 would have been a lot. What year was that?
2013. That's a lot of money for
12 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be contentious, I think, but I did want to talk about professional flagship cameras. But I wanted to ignore the very early days where you were paying, what would be equivalent to like $20,000 as digital was first rolling out. They were incredibly expensive. I don't think that's fair for these comparisons. So I thought about like when I felt like full frame professional cameras had matured a little bit. So let's talk Nikon D3, often considered the most important camera in Nikon's history, where they introduced a full-frame sensor, to the Z9, which is absolutely its spiritual successor.
There's no way Chris and I don't agree on
went
this.
Up or down?
There's no way we don't agree.
I think it went down. I
also think
the
it went
D4 was very expensive,
D3.
and the Z9 was a steal. Oh, D3 even, yeah. And the Z9 is a steal. And Nikon, I think, is a kind of a bit of a dark horse in this because they really did try to win market share and they priced very aggressively low.
Yeah, they're not making nearly. I think they're probably barely making profit on their bodies, and they're going strongly into their peripherals. And I think that it's going to be a huge difference. And I think the D3 was way more expensive.
I want to preface this. I had some fun looking at these articles because Nikon was in a similar position with the D3 they were with the Z9, where everybody thought like, oh, Canon's way ahead. Can Nikon jump back in? So at April 2007, the price of $5,000 was considered extremely affordable for a professional camera in this caliber, which would be $7,564 today, where the Nikon Z9 launched at $5,900, which we said, wow, that's very affordable for a flagship mirrorless camera. It's currently on sale for $5,200, so the price has absolutely dropped. If you want a flagship Nikon camera, you both get a point. Well done, you two.
Nikon is the one it's like they aren't fair. The pricing for them is always, especially mirrorless.
I feel like Canon will be similar, though.
He's going to ask us. I'm sure there's a Canon in here.
Get ready. This is a very carefully structured game. So, as predicted, you just rolled right into my next topic. I have chosen the 1DX as the starting point of Canon's modern full-frame professional cameras. That's where they kind of looked at like the high speed, still a relatively low megapixel. They ditched the DS series at this point. So, 1DX to an R1 is absolutely the spiritual successor to that camera. Do you think the price went up or down?
I think it's still gone down a little bit. The 1DX was very expensive.
So expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. And the R1 is too, but I still think it's
very expensive.
Yeah.
So if you're a professional sports photographer, has the price of investment in Canon gone up or down? What do you say?
Chris, you said down?
I think it's gone down still. Yeah.
Jaron?
About the same.
Okay. So the 1DX was launched for $6,800 in October 2011, which is $9,482 today. And I remember selling plenty of these at the camera store. It's crazy thinking about it now. But what I think is kind of fun with this is the EOS R1 was launched at the exact same price 14 years later. The R1 came out at $6,800, so substantially cheaper than the 1DX.
I was absolutely broken by the fact that when you said it came out at exactly the same price, my brain was like, I feel like the pricing's got to be close, but I didn't take inflation into account. So
It was the same, Jaron, not adjusting for inflation.
Exactly. It turns out my brain was kind of there, but also very wrong.
But this is the mistake we all make, is we remember that really expensive camera. We remember that price very specifically, but we forget that the value of this has changed a lot over the last little bit.
That time period, pros would come in and say, okay, it's time, Chris, right? And they would get a 1DX and they would get 24 to 70 and 70 to 200 and 16 to 35. And they would be like $13,000 bills or higher. Like it was nuts. Yeah.
Put your kids through, well, not college, but paid for your kids.
That was a decent car back then, that's for sure.
Semester.
Okay, you guys are tied, but fortunately we have an odd number of categories, so we'll see. But you could still tie it up. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Let's talk about something that kind of started the digital mirrorless revolution, and that's the Sony A7 series. So obviously they've had the Rs for high resolution, but I think we're going to go with the standard series on this. So the original A7 24 megapixel camera didn't work real good, didn't feel real good in the hands, but it led to something amazing, leading to the A7 IV, a camera we were just talking about being an absolute bestseller. Do you think the price has gone up or down on this series?
No, same.
Chris says same. Jaron?
Tough for me because I remember Sony entering the market and it was weird. They were pushing something no one else had. They couldn't charge too much for it, even though it was brand new technology.
Yeah.
I think the price has come down only because of inflation. I think that they probably have been sitting around about the same amount of money for the entire time they've had an A7 series.
Think so?
Even though the A7 V slightly increased the price, I think, over the A7 IV, it will not have been in compensation for inflation. It'll still be less. So I think the A7 V is cheaper.
Okay, so this is kind of fun because this is a more recent camera series, right? We've been talking about a bunch of really old stuff. And because the A7 was a weird camera that didn't work real well when it first came out, they priced it incredibly aggressively, $1,700 in 2013, which is equivalent to $2,289 today compared to $2,900 on the A7 V. The price has absolutely jumped on the A7 series.
Chris and I tie, basically. We both
You're
got
still
that one wrong.
tied because you both got that one wrong. Yes.
That's wild. 17.
Isn't it?
You know, I should have gone with the gut when I said that they priced it aggressively because nobody knew what to do with it. And also it kind of sucked.
I could have sworn it was more like $2,200-$2,300,
right?
But no.
I think it may have been the A7
thinking Canadian there as well, Chris.
Yeah, Canadian. Oh, what? Wait, this is American.
Yes, of course.
Wait, this whole time?
Like every review we do.
Wow. So essentially, the only company that is charging more right now is Sony. And
in
Ricoh.
this particular, which is
In the
their
categories
mainstream
where it's chosen,
camera series, yes, which I find really interesting.
So everything got cheaper, basically. Well, almost. Wait, didn't you have another one? I thought you were going to do GH.
I do. Yes, I've got more. We're not done yet.
Oh, boy.
All right. You guys having fun? Chris, are you having fun?
You know, it's more fun than I thought.
All right, cool. All right, let's do the GH series. So the GH1 was really the first mirrorless camera with a strong emphasis on video capture, which has led to miraculous things and that series has shot our show primarily for longer than any other camera series. So do you think the price on the GH has gone up, down, or stayed the same?
So GH1 versus GH7.
You got it. Now, remember, this is also shifted, not to tease things, but the intended market has shifted dramatically with the GH system.
Yeah. I can go first this time, Chris, since you've always gone first.
If 20%'s our thing, I'm going to say it's a little bit more expensive than it used to be. I think it's gone up.
Going to go more expensive because I think the original GH was like cheap. And
pretty aggressive.
Yeah, the GH, starting with the GH5 and the GH6, those started to be like, these are a little more expensive because they're
those
so
are pro cameras, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris, you're saying the same?
No, higher.
Yeah, higher.
Price has gone up. You're both saying higher?
I think the price has gone up, yeah.
This was a fun one. So it was the GH1 was launched for $1,500 in May 2009, which is $2,193 today, which is exactly the same price the GH7 is on sale for, $2,200.
On sale for? What's the sale?
Sorry, that's street price. I'm sorry.
Oh, street price. Damn.
On sale, it is going for $2,000 right now. So it has dipped up a little bit. But because we're within that 20% threshold and stuff, it still stays as the same price. So isn't that crazy?
I'm shocked.
Both wrong. Yeah, both wrong.
I thought it was also, how much, wait, what did it launch for? What was the launch price?
$1,500.
Okay, for some reason I thought in my mind it was like 13 or 14, and I thought the GH7 was more expensive, to be honest.
I just can't remember new price. I can't even remember current prices right now. I don't even know what a camera is.
This is also such an early, like the G1 was the first mirrorless camera. This was the follow-up to that. It came out even before the GF1. This is an old camera series. So
That's true.
Crazy.
Very interesting.
Wow.
Good for you, Panasonic. Great. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
finally, this one's for Jaron. All right, we got to do the X100 series. Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
X100 original versus X106. We all remember a huge outcry when the X106 pricing was announced recently.
Yeah. I think it's gone up. For sure. Yeah. X100 was not that expensive. X106. Now, are we talking eBay price? Because that for sure.
No. This is, I went and found the announced launched price. I did my research. I looked at numbers.
Wow, X106 is like supposed to be 1,500. I think the original was like
hard.
I need you guys to say
it's more expensive. I'm going it's more expensive. That's me. I'm going it's more expensive.
Okay, Jaron.
I want to say it's actually stayed pretty close to the same. So this is gonna call it. Which unless we're both wrong, this is gonna call it.
All right, you all ready for this?
The same. Yeah.
All right. The X100 original was met with a slew of controversy in 2010 when it was launched at $1,200, which is $1,726 today. And the X106 started a flurry of controversy, being launched at $1,800. Basically the same price. I looked for sale prices. They don't exist, and they will never exist because this camera will be sold out forever. Jaron has taken the crown on game of pricing cameras. What are the takeaways for you guys from this little game?
Unless it was blatantly obvious, we actually had no idea.
I'm very excited.
The takeaway is I see
that's your reward, Jaron. You get an X106.
Jaron's a very competitive person. The takeaway is that really prices in a lot of cases haven't changed that much.
Yeah,
or gone down.
And rarely have they gone up when you adjust properly.
Yeah, the overriding narrative of the last couple of years, especially with tariffs, is photographer is also gotten expensive, but photography is becoming a much more expensive hobby that's really going to limit its potential audience. And if you look at it historically, I mean, there's exceptions, but that's not totally the case.
It was just always expensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we were spoiled by what were honestly cheap cameras for a while there.
What a stupid art form. Just like
is
fly
this the
rods.
last podcast?
Jordan, I actually think that this was some of the most fun I've had on this podcast in a while, and I have learned something. I feel smart. So,
and you won.
I had a great time as well. This was a lot of fun, so maybe we'll have to do this again with a guest sometime in the future.
Yeah, it was awesome.
A lot of variation on those camera series. And going back and reading press releases for some of these old camera series was really fun. So anyways, maybe we'll do it again.
Very cool.
Thanks, guys.
Very cool.
I'm curious how the audience did. I mean, you got to be honest with us. Did you actually think it was going to turn out this way? Without cheating and without saying you got something you didn't. I'm really curious what you guys think. So let us know in the comments below. Well, it hasn't been that long since I last asked you guys, but what have you been up to? What I will say is, if for those who are listening to the podcast on YouTube, let's say you didn't finish it in one go and you came back to listen to it again and then found that you couldn't. Oh, that was weird, right? Yeah, we got copyright struck by Apple because I used some visual assets that they provided me, and I put them as like some visual color while we were talking about Creator Studio last week. Yeah, and they claimed the video and took it completely offline. Yeah. Offline everywhere. They eventually, after I contacted them and was like, that seems harsh, they agreed, and they released the video, so it's back. So sorry about that. Yeah. I think that's just an automated system. Don't hold it against them, and I don't hold it against them. So, but also, that's what I was up to.
Let's never talk about Ghibli movies again.
Oh yeah, you guys were just riding Chris for having an opinion.
Firestorm.
He can have an opinion that's not the same as yours.
That's okay. They're all wrong. It's fine. But we don't ever have to talk about it again. No, everybody was very civil. It was good.
Chris,
anything
what have you been up
to? Photographing the streets of New York with your friends. Anything else?
Yeah, which was cool. I mean, we've been in New York here for a little bit, which has been super fun. What else have I done recently?
I'm going to ask this since you guys specifically
Nothing.
Want it.
Articles.
we're going to Russ and Daughters tomorrow. So we'll have already consumed it by the time you watch this video. They had Russ and Daughters for the first time when we were here last summer when we were at Build.
Yeah, for the Build show.
And Jordan and Chris said that the Lox bagel sandwich was transplendent.
Yep.
And I agree. It's really good. Now, Russ and Daughters is kind of expensive. So you New Yorkers, what's a better Lox bagel sandwich? I want to know.
Whoa. You're asking New Yorkers what the best of any food is? This is the
this
worst
is going to be
rabbit hole
way
you could
angrier than a Ghibli movie, man.
I'm just-
We're in
There's
trouble.
480 choices. They're all going to
Because
say it's the best.
I'm
in New
going
York.
Engagement's
to want to
through the
go.
roof now.
I want to go to these places next time we're in town. I've been to Russ and Daughters multiple
We'll be
times.
back.
We'll be here. Like, where should we go?
This is the way
What's
I judge
best
it.
one?
I'm not a huge cream cheese guy. I'm not a huge smoked lox guy. It's fine. Like, again, I know you're going to say it's because I hate it, Jaron. I don't.
Why do
It's
you
just
hate it
not
so
my favorite.
Chris hates a bagel with lox? A traditional
No,
bagel?
oh my God, both of you are the worst. But when we did go to Russ and Daughters, I'm like, okay, well, let's go, let's try it. And it was, I was like, wow, that's really good cream cheese, the really good salmon, lots of it. Bagel was great, so I was impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jordan loved it too,
So-
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but he hasn't met a smoked salmon he won't put in his mouth.
I know, but I think unlike lamb, I feel like I can judge bagels as opposed to just like, it was all good, I don't care.
Right.
For what I've been up to, I would like to talk about my setup a little bit here because it's different from what I typically use. I didn't have a holder for my microphone, so I am using a Yeti mug here. That is my primary support for it, which has been working very well for me. But I need to say, I love the concept that Apple is doing where you can use your smartphone as a web camera because it's got like a good sensor, great lenses. Why don't we use that? Get really solid quality on it. But when I use it as a webcam, it locks everything. And you might notice that I look like I'm a Na'vi from Avatar here because I got window
blue.
light in front of me. I'm just
And I'm
blue.
yellow.
It looks like I'm hypothermic. No blood is getting out to my body. This drink is
do
doing
look
something
cold.
terrible to me. Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm actually quite cozy, and I just wish I could dial in white balance, exposure comp, that kind of stuff. So Apple, I love what you're doing. Just make it better and gooder. Okay.
Yeah, give me
Or
the ability to
if I
change color.
can, if you know an app that'll override this on my desktop when I want to use my phone as a webcam to control some settings, please let me know because that would have been really handy for today, and I wouldn't
Same.
look ill.
I
I'd
wouldn't
like to
look
talk-
yellow.
I'd like to talk about my setup then too, because I'm not happy with it. So, as you guys may or may not know, I've been using the iPad quite a bit as a workstation because it makes sense, got lots of power. So here I'm using the iPad right now. Here's my Shure mic here, hooked up through USB-C, and I'm on the iPad camera, which is fine. And I don't look blue. I'm getting nice window light. Look at that, beautiful, right?
Great white balance.
But-
Well done, Chris.
For whatever reason, this iPad will not let me have the Shure mic plugged in through USB-C as the mic input, but at the same time output to Bluetooth headphones, which is why I'm actually borrowing, thank goodness Jordan had them, Jordan's wired headphones into the back of the mic, right? Yeah. For whatever reason, Riverside and Apple will only use the one device. And people are saying, like, I looked online, like, oh, well, you should be able to do it based on the OS, and like you should be able to do it if you have a dongle or whatever, but why can I not have USB-C as my input for microphone and still go Bluetooth out to headphones?
Because you can on a PC, like not a PC, a MacBook. Jordan and I are on
and
MacBooks.
you guys are using your MacBooks for context. You guys are using your MacBooks. Yeah.
And I've got
I
my
can't do
mic
it.
here. I got my earbuds as
Just loving my blue life over here, man.
And it's literally not rocket science. I don't get it. And, someone's going to say, oh, Chris, you just have to download this app. Maybe. So, out of it all, at least I'll hopefully have an answer, but very frustrating that the iPad cannot, at least I can't find it, natively output Bluetooth headphone while inputting USB microphone.
Put it on the
Into
list
something
of
like
things
Riverside.
that we've complained about to Apple's iPad developers. You can add it to the list.
Let us know in the comments. Are our complaints legitimate or are we dummies? It's one of the two. So let us
maybe
know
I'm just
which.
old.
Can
Maybe
be
I'm just
both.
old.
Can be both. All right. We've got
what fixes
plenty.
it?
What?
Liquid pineapple.
Great. We've got plenty of time now for some tech support. So
Yeah.
let me fire up this question from Sebastian.
Ooh.
Hi guys, Sebastian from Germany here. So I have one question around 1.5 years ago, I got myself a EM1 Mark II, and that camera has been through hell. Like, it's been under the snow, it's been soaked with seawater. I took it under the Amazon rainforest, like no issues. To the front lines of Ukraine, that camera fell around like 20 to 30 meters from Zugspitze, that's like a mountain in Germany. And nothing. The camera doesn't need any repair. It probably needs therapy, but that's not the question. So around 6 months ago, my girlfriend got me a Canon 5D Mark II. And I've been using it, and it's so much fun. You know, like the whole full frame camera. I've never had a full frame before. This is my first proper full frame camera. So now, you know, I'm engaged. I want a full frame camera, but I want the same ruggedness as Olympus gave me before. So I wanted to ask, what will be, you know, besides Olympus, a really rugged camera with nice video and nice photos as well. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I love the podcast.
Okay,
What's
Jordan, what is that?
I'm
What are you
holding up a
showing?
Panasonic.
Everything's
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Panasonics are rugged as all get out. We were just out in the snow with them, and I wasn't stressed at all. I think that's a great option.
Yeah, like this is an important question, and it's a tough one to answer because a lot of modern high-end full-frame cameras are weather sealed, and it's such a vague term, and very few companies give a rating. OM System and Olympus are one of the few companies that actually give a true rating, and the only way you can really judge is by experience based on what you've experienced yourself and what you've used, right? So we were in Costa Rica, we had OM System cameras, and they got hammered, and they survived. And I know from experience, Olympus and OM System cameras are indestructible in so many cases. I love them for that. We have driven over them with trucks. We've got them wet. We've taken them in the rain.
Don't lump me in with you.
Okay, I have done all these things, and they work great. They really are fantastic for that. Pentax was always classically an SLR that you could beat the crap out of and survive, digital SLR. But as Jordan mentions, today we were out in brutal snow and no issues. When we went to Tromsø in Norway and we took we were playing with the S1R2, that camera survived brutal conditions. No issues with like snow coming sideways. But I also walked around with the Sony today in New York City in the same snow covered in water and didn't worry about it. And everybody's like, oh, Sonys are so delicate and fragile, right? It's like, no, they're fine. So I feel like a modern camera that's well sealed can take a lot more abuse than you would normally expect it to. And we've had issues with, like, again, I won't say it because they get so mad every time and they never let us forget. But we've had major waterlogging issues with flagship cameras from large manufacturers, right, Jordan? Which
Yes,
shouldn't have
I'm
flagged.
scared now. I don't want to talk about it.
I won't say anything. No, I don't want to talk about it either.
They
But
get grumpy.
because they never let us forget.
I get text messages.
I won't apologize for it because a flagship camera should survive, and we're not going to talk about it anymore. But I feel like most modern cameras now are very rugged, are able to handle it. I mean, the 5D Mark II wasn't bad. I wouldn't call it fully weather sealed like a 1DX at the time or 1D model, but Panasonic. Certainly anything OM System makes, but for full frame Panasonic, I think the new Nikons and Canons don't do it. But I mean, like, he wants full frame mirrorless. I would say, yeah.
Full frame. He just said full frame, didn't he? Did he say specifically mirrorless? If he said
But
mirrorless,
he mentioned video. He said video. You cannot recommend a Pentax. That would be terrible.
But
by the way, for what
I'm
it's worth,
convinced-
today we were out shooting, and you're not supposed to get the X106. Like, I don't have that little thing on here that weather seals it. I haven't had a problem. So, Chris is right. Like, you would have to get it wet, and that's not super common. I guess the rainforest is one that I would be a little hinky about.
Yeah, because you also got so much humidity in the air and condensation. That's something that no camera can really protect from well. So that's, but yeah, I would say Jordan's right. Panasonic, as long as you're okay with the slower autofocus for photography, like photos are great. Fantastic. We've tested those cameras in brutal situations and seen them survive. Nikon, I would be very confident and it would handle it, and they have great video as well. Canon, and I know people crap on Sony, but my A7 R5 survived just fine, and I've put it through a lot as well. So yeah, man, I think they're all pretty well sealed.
I think it's if you hit that like mid-range and above. Like, would I want to have a Sony A7C series camera, or like a Canon R8? Absolutely not. But once you get to a tier where they're like, this is expected to be used by professionals, they're fairly well sealed in a lot of situations. Will they be bomb-proof like an OM camera? I mean, that's still the gold standard for durability.
Yeah. They do have an incredible ability to survive. Yeah.
Okay, next one is an email from Matt. I hope you're well. In a PetaPixel video from earlier this year, that would be 2025, Jordan recommended some Lumix LUTs he uses when shooting video. Unfortunately, I'm unable to locate the video where he made these recommendations. One LUT was called Nicest 709, and the other may have been Fashion Lowcon or Vintage. Please, can you bump this question over to him so he can confirm this recommendation? Many thanks, Matt.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, why is there some difficulty with this? And I realize they don't list them as Lumix LUTs. These are called VariCam LUTs, which is the classic Panasonic cinema line that I actually believe is dead at this point. But they have a number of great free LUTs available. So just search for VariCam LUT library. And as they said, my two favorites for Chris's skin tone, Fashion Low Contrast is the best profile I've been able to find for him on Panasonics. But if it's not a person's face or like B-roll shots, I lean on their nicest profile. Not nice. Do not download nice. It is not as nice as nicest, which is nicer. You want the nicest profile. But yeah, just punch in, search for Panasonic VariCam LUT library. It's 33 LUTs. There's a lot of really good ones there. And if you're a Panasonic user, I think it's a great thing. And one nice thing is you emailed us. So I'm just going to send you the link directly as well. Well, no, I'm not, because I didn't get the email. I'm going to send it to Jaron to send it to you, the exact link to download these sweet LUTs.
All right, well, I'll make sure to send that to him.
I love you, LUTs and LUTs.
Next one is an email from Sam. Hey guys, Sam here from Australia. I've been wondering about the benefits of using APS-C cameras for wildlife photography. I'm an underwater photography enthusiast using a Z52 and DX16-50 in an underwater housing. I originally upgraded from compact cameras because I was looking for a larger sensor to use underwater. I have, however, found I am becoming more and more enamored with the crop format for use on land with BILF wildlife photography. BILF standing for Birds I Love to Photograph.
Don't explain it. Just let the viewers just stew on that. Don't explain it.
Every podcast might be someone's first podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
For BILF
Doesn't
hunting,
matter.
I find the crop incredibly useful for getting that extra reach for framing, and I've yet to notice any real downside on picture quality on the somewhat aging Z52 sensor. My current go-to is the Tamron 50 to 400 millimeter lens, and I have a Nikkor 180 to 600 millimeter lens in the male with an iFootage Cobra 3 for support. Thanks for the recommendation, Jordan.
Very good monopod.
The biggest drawback I can see seems to be my reliance on full-frame lenses, hence limiting the weight savings I could otherwise make, but I'm still surprised by the apparent lack of conversation and consideration in this area. Is there something obvious I'm missing? Quick side note, everyone's always commenting on how attractive they find Chris, but it's obvious to anyone with two working eyes that Jordan is the sexiest beast.
Sexiest? I mean, I'll take sexy, but I mean, I'm working with two very attractive gentlemen here, so...
You know what? Every comment that says I'm attractive, I really appreciate that. And there are some out there. But to be honest, I feel like Jordan gets plenty of love out there. I don't know what this rivalry is. Most of the comments are Jordan. Yeah, like stop it. Like Jordan's always so sexy. It's like he's tall. That's an unfair advantage. Anyways, yeah, smaller sensors for wildlife. The weight savings and size savings with lenses as you go to smaller format is real. No doubt, right? Like this is even an advantage with Micro Four Thirds cameras. But you are sacrificing sensor size and you are sacrificing low light. And I do see the image quality difference. I mean, there's no doubt. The Z52 has a great 20 megapixel sensor, but at the same time, yeah, it's somewhat low resolution. If you want higher resolution without having to crop, you got to go full frame, and you got to carry big lenses to support that large sensor. And then low light performance, if you're using equivalent apertures in the same light, yeah, I mean you'll see a benefit with full frame sensors in a lot of cases. Like so there's an advantage there. So I don't know. I do like the smaller crop sensors for the portability, and there's some excellent cameras out there. And for when we were talking about just recently, hey, like North America, for whatever reason, has a major love affair with full frame, and they've really kind of been shunning.
It's not
APS-C
for whatever reason. It's because Sony's marketing was incredibly effective here.
There you go, Jaron. Yeah, sure. So, but regardless, people love full frame sensors here, right? There's no replacement for displacement. And it's true, but I love that. But you will have to carry a larger camera and larger lenses, or you're going to basically get the same results. So yeah, that's all there is to it. I will say how high resolution full frame sensor does give you the versatility that you can crop it later and still get a very acceptable amount of megapixels. So any sort of like reach advantage that APS-C has, I feel is kind of, like that's not really that big an advantage because, yeah, you get a crop factor, but that's only when we're talking about equivalent focal lengths.
And I think it's worth pointing out, like when we test APS-C lenses, a lot of the time, Chris will use an A7R5 because if you put it in APS-C mode, it's basically, it is the same resolution as the 26 megapixel sensor Sony uses on their APS-C
and the same
models
pixel
right
pitch.
now.
Yeah,
exactly. So image quality will be functionally identical. There could be a real benefit with a high resolution APS-C sensor. The closest thing would be the Fujifilm cameras, but they're not really great for sports and wildlife with that 40 megapixel, which would be equivalent to like a 90 megapixel full frame in terms of pixel pitch. So that could be really cool. The problem is, just lens selection there. The next closest would be the Canon R7 with 32, which would be equivalent to like a 75 full frame. So if you've got Canon glass and you want extra reach, then absolutely you are.
Great setup. That's why you balance them on a cup, folks.
That was incredible. I'm not even sure where Jordan's audio is coming from anymore. So I'm gonna make him. It's coming in through his laptop. He's got to go change it now. Don't say anything, Jordan, until you've changed it. Chris, fill in.
While he's sorting it out, although I'm completely distracted now by his explosion there. What was I going to say? Oh, man. So one thing I will say, there are workarounds. Full frame cameras do give you better low light performance for sure, but shooting bird photography with a micro four thirds sensor or with an APS-C sensor, probably still with full frame, in low light situations where you're not getting that light advantage, you will get more noise. There's no way around it. But AI-based noise reduction is very effective. And even just using, Photoshop's built-in one or whatever, or I know a lot of you guys out there like to use secondary software like Topaz and stuff. Modern AI noise reduction is very effective with basically no degradation. And so that can really help, again, you punch above the weight that your sensor might have. And I had no issues with the quality that I was getting out of even micro four thirds sensors in those situations after running them through AI noise reduction in low light situations like jungle canopies and things like that. Jordan is by far the sexiest and clumsiest beast on this planet.
I have full control over all my extremities and all my digits. I am very good at using all of them, Chris. Will not stand for this. Where were we, Jaron?
Moving on. The next one is a speak pipe from Mason. Let me see if I can fire that up here. Mason F. Here we go.
Hey guys, my name's Mason from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I had a question regarding hybrid shooting and how realistic you guys find it to shoot about equal amounts video and photography in a day when you're out traveling. I found I started taking a lot more video when my wife and my son travel, but I've found it's come at the expense of most of my photography. Do you guys find that a true hybrid experience with one camera body actually works for you? Or do you end up only doing video or photography in a single day? Thanks for taking my question.
Woo! Go Rough Riders.
This is actually a very interesting question because I didn't really think about it, but I tend to only take pictures with the camera that I have. And if I want a video, I take out my phone.
Yeah. I would want to hear Jordan's thoughts here because certainly he does a lot of video and photography, to be honest, and he probably shoots more hybrid than either of us. I'm the same way, Jaron. I do tend to like having a camera with the goal of using it for photography. I find if I split my attention between two different worlds, it's very difficult. And so I will pull up my phone in a lot of cases. And let's be honest, like the new iPhone video capabilities are fantastic. The quality is great. So it's not always like a big downside, and it's convenient. But if I was being asked, I feel like we've seen a lot of really powerful hybrid cameras recently. Sony, I would say, is still more photocentric, although they can take beautiful video, and the autofocus is excellent. Panasonic, I would say, is more video-centric. They can take photos. I just wish the autofocus is better, but it's not bad. But Canon and Nikon, I would say, are very strong platforms you can shoot video and stills on very effectively. And, so the A7 IV, the Nikon Z6 III, the Canon R6 Mark III, like, they're all both fantastic camera choices to do everything. And it's not, like, they're easy to switch back and forth between the two, right?
Yeah, functionally, they've made huge inroads. We were asking for years, like, can you please keep my exposure settings separate? And, even like my white balance, my picture profiles separate between photo and video. The big obstacle, I think, is they're two totally different ways of thinking. So even though now I have my S1 II, I flick a switch and it's ready to go in photo mode, I still... At that point, I am now committing to, I'm taking pictures for a little while. What I won't do is like, a little video of this, a little photo of that. Although, like you said, it's funny. I will do that with my smartphone all the time. I'll just be like, video, photo. But I'm also not thinking about it. It's generally running in an automatic mode where if I open up like Blackmagic camera or Final Cut camera, I'm in video land for a while. I'm setting up my exposure settings. I'm thinking about it. I'm grading log, that kind of thing. So I just find people aren't equipped to this. When the 5D Mark II came out, Canon was very much like, photojournalists, now you're all videographers as well. And what we heard over and over is like, I can't do both jobs. I need to focus on one or the other. And I love that these devices, I can go out and be like, I'll do a half day of video and then a half day of photo. What I'm not doing is shot to shot, switching back and forth rapidly. So what you're experiencing is the same thing I deal with on a regular basis. Is I want to focus on one at a time. And I think that's the same for most people.
A good example
your mileage. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Well, I'm just saying your mileage might vary on your capability of being able to because George's right. Like, there's a different way of storytelling when you go from still to video. But some people might be really adept at being able to swap back and forth. But then you also have to consider, like, it's not just flicking a switch on the camera. It's also then, I got to pull up my ND filters if I want to keep my shutter speed properly. And the cameras do a really good job now of even separating profiles. That used to be a pain in the ass. You'd go from video to photo and you're in log. And I'm like, well, that was stupid. Like, why would we do that? And a lot of the new cameras now are adding meaningful video metering tools like waveforms and false color and stuff. But at the same time, there's other things. It slows you down having to change over filters and stuff. But I do feel like if you can get around the mental gymnastics of doing it, you can absolutely use one camera platform to do high quality both, as long as you're maybe able to kit yourself out for both, right?
But the question was, like, do we personally do that? And I think we've discussed
Heck
the
no.
answer. No.
Not very often.
Like, even when we were in Prague, Chris, and I was shooting video, I had a second camera for stills. So even though I theoretically could have taken stills on the camera that I was shooting you on, I didn't, because it just felt like I needed that switch.
You're in video brain mode.
Yeah, it switched me out of video brain, switched me into photo brain. And then I can switch back. I think it helps when it's a physical move for me.
Yeah. On the river, I'm doing stuff for Bow River Trout Fitters. I do swap back and forth fairly often between the two, depending on the day. But you're going from like video to photos of fish and stuff like that. But to be fair, I get around it by using the phone a lot now for both photo and video.
Same, right?
But even on OM system, like if you just say to hell with proper shutter speeds, that can help. I would end up. I didn't, so it was slow.
Thank God! Oh my God! I was going to lose my mind at you.
No, you'd be so mad at me, Jordan. No, I kept 180 degree rule till I die. But like I would have to find workarounds, like using rotating NDs, like variable ND filters, right, with polarizers combined. And then when it came to photo, I would just eat the light loss. Yeah, I know, it's super amateur hour, but I would just eat the light loss because we don't typically fish in dark conditions. And if we do, well, then you don't need ND filters. So it, but otherwise, no. It's not easy.
All right, we got time for one more. We're going to do another speak pipe from Misha.
Hey, Jaron, Chris and Jaron. I'm Misha from Moscow. Why do I feel like my friends, YouTube, and random people bully me into buying a full-frame camera? When will it stop? In all seriousness, I shoot street and travel, so size and convenience are important to me. After Micro Four Thirds stuck in 2015 technology, I jumped to APS-C with Sony. Now I'm not sure is there any point in smaller sensor cameras. Sony treats it like a small and deformed clone or full frame for poor people. Nowadays there's a A7C series, 2.8 primes, and small range zooms. Best lenses for APS-C like Sigma 1.8 zoom and Viltrox 1.2 prime are pretty much the size of full frame glass. I love my A6700. The quality and autofocus are great, but I'm not sure whether I should stay on the platform or switch to full frame as everybody tries to convince me. What do you guys think? Is there a point in smaller sensors now, or are the full frame perks greatly exaggerated?
So this actually touches on something I've mentioned before, and I mentioned it on this
and that we
podcast.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Sony's marketing was exceptionally effective. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what perspective you're thinking of, Sony is incapable of saying you need full frame and simultaneously selling you an APS-C camera. Those two things can't mix, no matter how hard they try. And so when you say like an A6700 is like the deformed clone, that's like the mistreated child, that's how Sony actually seems to treat it, because they don't know how to do the you need full frame but you actually don't thing. So this is a challenging discussion for that particular company.
I'm still gonna play. I agree with you absolutely 100%. I don't think it's just Sony. Like all the other companies as well make APS-C cameras, but I mean Canon have a different approach. They seem to push APS-C as like a gateway drug. Yeah. So they'll give them away to get you into the lens mount and then move you up to full frame when you realize
talking R100 here.
A lot of their APS-C cameras are, right? And some are great. Don't get me wrong.
Not
Don't
the
start
R100.
yelling at me. So Canon makes some of the best APS-C cameras, but like
not
any
the R100.
manufacturer, not the R100. The R100 is garbage. So it's like, but all the companies, I think, to some degree or another, at least glamorize full frame in their mounts. I think we can all agree on that, right? Not just
But who started it?
Sure, great. But this is the world we live in, right? In this economy, come on. So, but what about smaller sensors? Like, Misha, can you get away with using the A6700, which I think is an awesome camera? Do I not tell almost everybody we meet and talk to, like, why don't more people use this camera?
You said it yesterday.
Probably Sony marketing.
I introduce you to family who aren't interested in photography, and you're like, isn't the A6700 a great camera? They have no idea what you're talking about. Stop doing that.
It's affordable. It's compact. The autofocusing is as good as any of the full-frame Sonys, which is to say amazing. And there's lots of lens choices available for specific APS-C. I mean, I rock a Panasonic GM5. That's still my favorite camera of all time. But how do I get around it? I use gigantic f1.2 glass, because I don't want to get into equivalency, but what I'm basically doing is putting, in a way, full frame optics in front of a small sensor, right? Equivalently, it's not going to be f1.2. You're making up for the light loss that you would get in an f1.8 lens, for example, right? So, yeah, I still think APS-C sensors are fantastic. I think you should stick with the 6700. I think it's a great option, and don't worry about the naysayers. I'd only go full frame and carry the extra weight and size of lenses if you wanted to maximize, low light performance, dynamic range. And even then, I don't think it's that big an advantage anymore. But I don't agree with you. Micro Four Thirds is fantastic and has its place, and I love it. But yeah, man, sensor size.
I still love Fujifilm, and that's just me.
What?
Here's the thing. If we're only going to talk about image quality, when I get the 40 megapixel RAW files out of this thing and I edit them, they have way more to them than I need for my edits. Like, I don't typically shoot thinking I'm going to have to pull every ounce of dynamic range out of something. So, like, the fact that I can pull considerable amounts, like I can bring the sky back and I can bring shadows up. I've made some gorgeous photos from just tweaking them slightly in post, because there's a lot more to these sensors than I think the full frame purists give them credit for.
We're spoiled. So
APS-C is perfectly acceptable. Jordan?
Yeah, the point I wanted to make before I knocked my microphone off of a coffee mug earlier is I think
you're
that
clumsy.
Anyways, the point I was trying to make is basically, I think the sensors are capable of very good results. What we need to see is the manufacturers making optics designed specifically for those. You mentioned
And
like
Fujifilm
Sigma
does.
1.8, or the Viltrox 1.2s. Yeah, those are going to be giant full frame equivalent lenses, much like the stuff Chris is using in Micro Four Thirds. But if we see some appropriate mid aperture lenses designed for that, they're going to be smaller. They're going to be less expensive. The problem is we have Nikon and Canon and Sony all being like, oh yeah, just slap full frame glass on there, and underdeveloping native lenses for these smaller formats. The third parties are helping, but the first parties should also pick it up there. And that, I think, would really help things. But they're loath to do it for the reasons we've talked about. They want to
So
make
why
a
go
bigger
full
sensor.
Film.
Why go full frame? You're willing to carry really big, heavy lenses if you want ultra shallow depth of field, which I find I rarely want, anyways. Depth of field for me is almost never a consideration where I'm like, oh, geez, I really want full frame because I want shallower depth of field. And to get it, you have to carry big lenses, or you want really high resolution sensors. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't think it's really worthwhile doing it.
I just think back to when there was like a Nikon D500 and a Canon 7D Mark II, and the first-party companies were making very good APS-C optics because they considered it part of their stable.
Yeah.
Where they're not
So
doing that
good.
anymore.
D500 was so good. I love that.
But you got so many, as Jordan said, you got so many beautiful third-party primes and stuff like that right now, which are really good. So you got lots of options there.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it this week. I don't have a feel-good story of the week because it hasn't been long enough for me to find a new feel-good story.
I'll tell you what makes me feel good is a
Don't tell, this is
old-fashioned
personal.
from the bottle pre-mixed from Knob Creek. Actually quite lovely.
Yeah, great. I'm glad to hear it. This water.
This was just a gigantic, nude or neutral or White Claw. But it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Hopefully you were able to put up with our terrible camera setups. This could be much better, but the white balance will be off the entire time, and I refuse to fix it in post, so you have to look what I have to look at.
And damn you, iPad. Damn you. Straight to hell.
We'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
Bye.